Now, there's yet another aspect to the alien abductions, and that has to do with our genetic code. Enki and in the extension, the Sirians, manipulated already existing species on this planet in ancient times as we have seen in earlier papers, but if we go back far enough all the way back to the primordial man, the Namliyu, there was a code embedded into our basic DNA due to us being part of the original experiment as guardians of the living library. This code is apparently tightly connected to the 96% universe and the true fire of the divine feminine. This code seems to be one of the last, if not the last, missing piece in the mystery of mankind as far as the Sirians are concerned. They know we have the code, but have never been able to break it. Not even Enki and Ninhursag, when they had access to their genetic laboratories, could figure out and decode this code, so deeply embedded in our DNA. And this was the whole purpose with putting it there in the first place. The goddess understood that bad things could happen to us over time, but as long as our DNA/RNA is still present on this planet as a part of humanity, this encoded part, next to impossible to break, would still be a part of humanity, dormant during times of great suppression, but with the ability to empower the being when the consciousness of the planet is just right. This is what the chronometers hidden on our planet are there for. They were put there by the original planners, so they could keep measuring the mass consciousness on the planet, and when time is right fire off the codes. That is one big reason why the Sirians put our planet under quarantine. As long as they could not break this code, they didn't want any other star race to try either, or they would have the key not only to the living library, but also to connect to the 96%. So it acts like a double-edged sword for the Sirians. They don't want the consciousness on the planet to rise above a certain level, or mankind would be too powerful, but on the other hand they want the code that seemingly can only be broken if they let humanity evolve. However, beings who need to bring fear to their environment to be able to rule and control it are also themselves fearful beings and can imagine all kind of horrible revenge humankind would take against them if we evolve past their own awareness level. So, they have really locked themselves in at the same time they have locked us in, all in the name of fear. Therefore, they have basically shot themselves in the foot. The more violent abductions are often attempts to break the code. On this subject, the following comes directly from the Pleiadians. However, we are the first to admit that. Far in the distant past, Pleiadian energies manipulated the genetic line of human beings, and were connected to the reptiles. This is what we have come back to heal. That is the purpose of our visit. From the same source follows. Others may access the formulas from you, and in exchange you will experience states of ecstasy, alterations of consciousness, or perhaps trips into other worlds. You may not realize you are emitting the formulas when you do this. Others who need the formulas will use them to replicate lives, or to re-establish systems that are being destroyed. When those codes of information or formulas are set out in existence we will be free because the codes of consciousness contain the songs of your own freedom song as frequency and broadcast from the cells of your body. Here the Pleiadians are talking about our future, if that is the future we decide to re-establish. These are the bold ways of the goddess, when we were the key, or the library cards, to the living library. It is evident that the Pleiadians whom Arseniac is channeling wish for us to take charge of this planet again and let the original experiment be re-established on a new version of Earth. According to them, our bodies, minds, and souls have the same potentials now to become what the Namliyu once were. And the spirits of Namliyu are still present amongst humanity. Yet another serious reason why some people get abducted over and over has to do with their bloodline. Some humans have been worked on during abduction sessions, sometimes since they were little kids. They are of certain hybrid bloodlines that apparently will be used, some as hosts for future star beings, and some for other reasons. Just like with channeling, where the channeler has to be strong and have a certain genetic setup to be able to channel safely without being depleted of energy and eventually getting seriously ill, these chosen people are apparently of the same type of stock. Typical example of such are Supreme Rockefeller, whom I wrote about in 2009, and Michael Lee Hill, MLH, whom I covered in Level 1 in a specific paper. MLH is a very pleasant person and a talented musician, but have been used by different Sirian entities as well as the Greys when he was little and perhaps as late as 2007. He has talked about his experiences as positive on the most part and is quite casual about the role he is told he will play in the future and says he goes with the flow, but the 2007 abduction was less pleasant. He woke up in the middle of the operation in incredible pain, something he found out during a session with a hypnotist who does regression therapy. At least one of those who were working on him was a human, or in a human body, and is said to have apologized, thinking MLH was asleep, and said he would feel no more pain, whereafter he let his hand go over MLH's forehead, and he fell asleep again, with no further pain or memories of what happened. However, he told the hypnotist that he did not want to relive that experience, and the hypnotist took him back to present time. MLH's comment afterwards was that even during a normal surgery, there is a potential chance the patient will wake up, and that doesn't necessarily mean the surgery is evil. Well, that's true, but I withstand what I said earlier. Why is MLH abducted against his knowledge and immediate consent? If what he is being prepared for is benevolent, why all these secrets? Still, MLH does not see it like I do, and it's not for me to force my sense of reality upon somebody else. I like Michael, but these are his experiences, and the interpretations of them are his own. He has all the right to them. Important to remember when we talk about alien abductions is that not all of them are done by aliens. In fact, it certainly looks like most of them are done by humans. Another effect the TTP has had is that some of the interdimensional technology we have received in exchange for human suffering has been used to abduct our own species. This is probably nothing new to most readers who have followed me so far, but is still something that needs to be brought up. 15 to 25 years ago, a lot of attention was being put on underground bases such as Area 51. At first, researchers claimed they had inside information that this was an alien base, where alien spacecraft landed and took off ever so often. Sure enough, when people traveled there to see for themselves, many returned to tell about how they saw UFOs hovering over and taking off from the military base.